This video is sponsored by War Thunder.
深刻世界の体制と帝国の現状とに鑑み非常の措置をもって自局を収集せんと欲しここに終了なる汝臣民に次ぐ秦は帝国政府をして米英四祖四国に対しその共同宣言を受諾する旨通告せしめたり。
Hello everyone, this is Showtime 112. The general story of the end of World War II in the Pacific usually goes like this. After 2 atomic bombs were dropped on Japan, the country's leadership finally decided to surrender. But the reality is, the period between the attack on Nagasaki on August 9, 1945, and the Japanese Emperor's public surrender announcement on August 15th was anything but calm or uneventful. Japan was devastated, with very few targets left worth attacking, but Admiral William Bull Halsey, commander of the 3rd Fleet, was still under orders from Admiral Nimitz to keep the pressure on Japan with aerial attacks, shipping sweeps, and coastal bombardments. Task Force 38, which had arrived at Honshu's Pacific coast in early July, included the legendary aircraft carrier USS Yorktown. Known as the Fighting Lady, Yorktown was home to Fighter Squadron VF-88, flying Grumman F6F Hellcats. Now, while some might say there is never truly a first or a last in history, the pilots of VF-88 found themselves in a battle that's considered one of the 2 top contenders for the title of the last dogfight of World War II. The other contender involves seafarers from the Royal Navy's Fleet Air Arm, and we might cover that story in the future, but today we're focusing on the US Navy. Like most US Navy squadrons at the time, VF-88 was a mix of seasoned veterans and fresh-faced rookies. Veterans like Lieutenant Howard "Howdy" Harrison and Lieutenant Junior Grade Maurice Proctor flew alongside newcomers like Ensigns Wright, Billy Hobbs, and Eugene Mandeberg. But regardless of experience, many pilots in the unit shared the same thought. Was it really necessary to keep flying risky missions over Japan? Japanese fighter opposition was limited, but the anti-aircraft fire was still deadly. Nobody wanted to be the last man to die in the war, and many pilots saw Admiral Halsey as the one risking their lives needlessly. After all, what could their small bombs do to sway Japanese leaders when 2 atomic bombs hadn't already done the job? With peace negotiations still up in the air, Task Force 38 got ready for another strike early on August 15th. The target, Shibaura Electric Company, the same place they had hit on the 13th. War Thunder is the ultimate vehicle combat experience, free to play on PC and consoles. Dive into a massive arsenal of over 2,500 meticulously recreated airplanes, helicopters, tanks, and ships from 10 major nations, spanning everything from 1920s biplanes and armored cars to 4th generation fighters and modern MBTs. Anyone can jump in. War Thunder is completely free, runs smoothly even on low-end PCs, and doesn't require any fancy gear. Your mouse and keyboard are all you need to get started. The game's stunningly realistic graphics and immersive sound effects pull you straight into the heart of military history. I have personally relied on War Thunder to create many of my videos, including this one, and I owe a lot to the game for helping keep the Showtime 112 channel going strong. Join a global community of over 70 million players and take part in epic PvP battles. Whether you're a hardcore military history buff or just looking for thrilling action, War Thunder has a mode for every playstyle. Prefer fast-paced action without complex controls? Try arcade mode. Want a more authentic, cockpit-level experience? Simulation mode is for you. Or strike a balance with realistic mode. So why wait? Start playing War Thunder for free today on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or even mobile devices using the links in the pinned comment or video description. New players or those returning after 6 months away on PC and consoles will score a huge bonus pack. Premium vehicle rentals, 100,000 Silver Lions, 7 days of premium account, and an exclusive vehicle decorator. This special offer is available for a limited time only. 12 Hellcat pilots from VFF-88 were assigned to sweep Atsugi Airfield, about 25 miles southwest of Tokyo. At the last minute, the flight roster changed when squadron leadership realized Ensign Hobbs was just one mission away from the 5 needed for a promotion to lieutenant junior grade. It also happened to be Hobbs' 23rd birthday, and he was given the mission. Led by Howdy Harrison, the Hellcats took off from Yorktown at 4:15 a.m., but almost immediately they ran into thick clouds. Unable to break through, Harrison ordered his flight to descend and continue towards their target at low altitude. He also told 2 pilots to climb and find a clearing, circling there to relay messages to and from the carrier. Meanwhile, a section of 4 Hellcats, led by Lieutenant Junior Grade Odom, got lost in the overcast. Harrison pressed on with just 6 Hellcats. Himself, Lieutenants Joseph Saloff, Theodore Hansen, Maurice Proctor, and Ensigns Wright Billy Hobbs and Eugene Mandelberg. The group crossed the coastline and then turned towards Sagami Bay to approach Atsugi from the south. But at 6:30 a.m., just as they were maneuvering, a message came in from Admiral Nimitz. The mission was to be suspended immediately. Commander Searcy, leading the strike group, ordered everyone to jettison their bombs and return to Yorktown. Cheers erupted over the radios and bombs began dropping into the ocean. Searcy relayed the stand-down order to Harrison, who acknowledged. The Hellcats, still armed with rockets, were just about to attack Atsugi airfield, but now turned back toward Yorktown. Lieutenant Junior Grade Odom, whose section had separated earlier, later claimed that Harrison decided to take his flight on a quick tour over Tokyo. However, Odom only received the garbled transmission from Harrison, and this claim is generally considered unlikely. But the relief was short-lived. Soon after turning away from Atsugi, Harrison's flight was ambushed by Japanese fighters. Saloff shouted, "Tally-ho, many rats, 6 o'clock diving." A large group of Japanese fighters dove from about 4,000 feet above. The exact number and types of Japanese planes are unclear. Japanese records only mention Navy aircraft. As soon as the Americans were reported inbound, the 302nd Kokutai commander ordered every available plane into the air. Lieutenant Yutaka Morioka led a mixed group of 8 late-model A6M0s and 4 J2M3 Raidens, known as Jack to the Allies. American pilots reported seeing between 15 and 20 Japanese planes, including Ki-84 Franks, flown by the Japanese Army. There are no surviving Army records of such an operation, but it's not unlikely that Army pilots joined their Navy colleagues in this final, desperate defense of Japan. Harrison moved his planes into a defensive position, bracing for the Japanese onslaught. The details of the dogfight are sketchy, as each pilot was focused on survival and couldn't keep track of the bigger picture. Harrison, with Hobbs on his wing, chased a pair of Japanese planes. Hansen managed to shoot down 2 Japanese fighters in a head-on charge, with the second coming so close they nearly collided. Proctor hit a Japanese fighter he identified as a Ki-84 Frank, though he admitted his identification was shaky. He got behind the enemy at close range, fired, and saw the Japanese plane plunge earthward with the wings severed. Proctor and Hansen then noticed Joseph Saloff's plane was smoking and flying straight. He was clearly in trouble, with a Japanese fighter closing in. Proctor intervened, shredding the enemy from 700 feet away, and told Saloff to head for open sea. but enemy fire forced Proctor to break off, leaving Salof on his own. Fortunately, Hansen shot the frank of Proctor's tail. Salof tried to escape by ducking in and out of clouds, but eventually bailed out, and his plane went down. Maurice Proctor then spotted 7 Japanese planes heading his way. Most veered off, but Proctor fired a belly shot at one, sending it down in flames. He escaped into the clouds, his Hellcat riddled with 28 holes, but still managed to return to Yorktown. The Japanese pilots gave up chasing Proctor and turned their attention to Harrison, Hobbs, Vandenberg, and Hansen. Only Hansen survived, and even he couldn't say exactly what happened to the others. One Hellcat exploded, its pilot bailing out at 7,000 feet. Two others quickly plummeted in flames, overwhelmed by Japanese fighters. Only one victory from this battle was officially credited to a Japanese pilot, Yutaka Morioka, flying a Zero for the Japanese Navy. Morioka recalled spotting Hellcats attacking Atsugi with rockets at 3,000 meters. While the Hellcats were carrying rockets, American sources say they never attacked Atsugi because of the abort order. Morioka saw one plane circling, moved in for a shot, but climbed to avoid being attacked himself, then dove and opened fire. The Hellcat spun and the pilot bailed out. One of the American pilots, Ensign Eugene Mandelberg, was found dead and then buried by the Japanese. Mandelberg's body was only identified by DNA analysis in March 2025. Lieutenant Harrison and Ensign Hobbs were also killed. Meanwhile, Hellcat pilots claimed 8 or 9 Japanese fighters shot down. The 302nd Kokutai's records show the loss of 2 Raidens and 1 Zero. While American claims may have been exaggerated, the discrepancies suggest Japanese army planes might have joined the battle, but their records didn't survive. This wasn't the final aerial encounter of World War II. Allied pilots shot down more Japanese planes after this incident, but along with the Royal Navy Seafires battle, this was the last true dogfight, where groups of fighters engaged in a classic maneuvering air battle. Let us know in the comments what you think of this story and if you'd like to hear about the Royal Navy's battle from the same time. Let me thank War Thunder for sponsoring the video. You can thank them too for enabling content such as this by clicking on my links. Play War Thunder today, and for those on PC and consoles, you will get a massive bonus pack including vehicles, boosters, and more. Thanks for watching Showtime 112.